Om Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram 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 Ho 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 Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram Om 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama. Hari Om, pranams to you all. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om. From today, we will just try to read our beloved Purushottam Papa's Gita Sandesh. Papa has written on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Gita Sandesh means message of the Gita by Swami Ramdas. So, for this first, let us read about Sachidananda Swamiji's words. Beloved readers, the message of Srimad Bhagavad Gita is so important and universal. The message of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita is so important and universal that if properly understood and practiced, it's not only understanding, understood and practiced, it helps any man or woman in any part of the world to lead the life fruitfully for himself or herself and also for others, and at the same time enjoy each and every action without being affected by its results, and making it a means for the purification of the mind and the realization of the goal of human life. The message of Srimad Bhagavad Gita is, Swamiji says, Puja Swami Sachidananda Ji, so important and universal that if properly understood, first we have to understand, then practice it. Practiced, it helps any man or woman in any part of the world to lead the life fruitfully for himself or herself and for others. It's not only for ourselves and others also. And at the same time enjoy each and every action without being affected by its results, and making it a means for the purification of the mind and realization of goal of human life. So, what are the things Swamiji says? One is Bhagavad Gita message is, first is it is important. Second one is it is a universal message. So, he advises us first we should try to understand it. And only when we understand correctly, rightly, then we will be able to practice it. So if we are able to do that, what are the results? How it will help us? It helps any man or woman in any part of the world. It's not only any country or any particular sector, caste, creed, nothing. It helps any man or woman in any part of the world to lead the life fruitfully, not only for themselves and even for others, and at the same time enjoy each and every action without being affected by its results. The result may be positive or negative, but still we will be able to maintain that samachittatvam, that is equanimity in all situations, with all the results, success or failure, whatever it is. So, without being affected by its results and making it a means for the purification of the mind and realization of the goal of human life. So, Papa always gives most important thing, always stresses on purifying the mind. So, Bhagavad Gita also helps in purification of our mind. Only when purity is there, correct understanding will come. That means clarity of the subject will come. Clarity about the Bhagavad Gita will come only when our mind is purified. So any knowledge to assimilate or understand rightly Purification of the mind is needed. So Srimad Bhagavad Gita explains to us clearly how we, deluded by ignorance, are identifying ourselves with the body instead of Atman, which we really are. Bhagavad Gita explains to us clearly how we, deluded by ignorance, are identifying ourselves with the body instead of Atman, which we really are. We are really Atman. We are not the body, mind, intellect, equipment. But because of the ignorance, we are identifying what we are not. We are identifying with what we are not. So, which we are really are. How we can get over this delusion and the resultant misery? Bhagavad Gita helps us in getting over this delusion, and because of the delusion, whatever the misery has come, resultant misery, both we will be able to get over. Realize our true being and existence and enjoy eternal happiness. So everyone in any walk of life should have the knowledge of what he is and what the purpose of life is, how to lead a happy and peaceful life, facing all the situations, confronting him daily and tackling them with equanimity. Everyone in any walk of life, it may be, a person working in office or at home, or maybe in the society, whatever, wherever, whichever type of work we are doing, wherever we are placed, in any walk of life, should have the knowledge of what he is. So who really I am, and what is the purpose of life, how to lead a happy and peaceful life, facing all the situations, confronting him daily and tackling them with equanimity. So, how to fight our life battle from the time we get up till night we go to bed, without getting affected with the situations, individuals, objects, with all that. So Srimad Bhagavad Gita provides this knowledge. And these days it may be difficult for everyone to read and understand the original Sanskrit verses of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So our Gurudev, beloved Papa, Swami Ramdas and Pujya Mataji Krishnabai, his foremost disciple, laid great stress on the importance of study of the sacred text for one's spiritual progress. So Papa Mataji always gave lot of importance for study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita for spiritual aspirants, for their spiritual growth. So to make this study easy and understandable, because Sanskrit, everybody may not be well versed with Sanskrit, even we don't know the Sanskrit. So that's why Papa made it, to make this study easy and understandable. Beloved Papa has written short essays on each chapter of Gita, published as Gita Sandesh. So Swamiji is giving blessings. May beloved Papa and Pujya Mataji inspire one and all to derive maximum benefit from reading and understanding the rich contents of Gita Sandesh, and enable them to progress on the spiritual path and realize the truth. Swami Sachidananda Ananda Ashram. So this is how Swamiji has written. Now let us see Papa. Preface is written by Papa. Based upon the universal vision granted by the Lord, Papa is telling about his vision. Based upon the universal vision granted by the Lord and fully conscious of the truth that the Lord and the devotee, the divine parent and the child are one. This child, the writer, composed this little work So Papa first starting only so much clarity. Based upon the universal vision, Papa never said I attained. No, he says based upon the universal vision granted by the Lord and fully conscious of the truth. That means the one spirit or the truth or Atman which is there in him is there in everybody, in everything. The truth, that reality. Papa says conscious, fully conscious means fully aware. With that awareness that the Lord and the devotee, the divine parent and the child are one. So Papa says, me and the Supreme Power are not separate. The Lord means the subtle, mysterious power, because of which we are able to speak, we are able to see, we are able to hear. That power. And this body, mind, intellect, name, no, Ramdas, or whatever. So sense of individuality and the Supreme Power are one. With that, the divine parent and the child are one. This child, the writer, composed this little work. Papa has written profound message, but he says little work. That shows humility and takes leave to place it before the indulgent readers who are for him the very forms of his most beloved Supreme Lord and the Divine Mother. Even the readers he is identifying. He says, for him, the very forms of his most beloved Supreme Lord and the Divine Mother. So that's why Papa could declare world is God with experience. Based upon the universal vision granted by the Lord and fully conscious of the truth that the Lord and the devotee, the divine parent and the child are one. This child, the writer, composed this little work and takes leave to place it before the indulgent readers like you and we are all, who are for him the very forms of his most beloved Supreme Lord and the Divine Mother. So Papa is seeing that one power. That power only has taken all our forms. So the teaching of the Gita in its very construction is so built up that it might offer a progressive path for the sadhaka. The teaching of the Bhagavad Gita in its very construction is so built up that it might offer a progressive path for the sadhaka aspiring for liberation and the attainment of the highest spiritual eminence of perfect union with, aspiring for liberation and the attainment of the highest spiritual eminence of perfect union with and absorption in the all-comprehensive being of the Godhead. So it may offer a progressive path for the sadhaka aspiring for liberation and the attainment of the highest spiritual eminence, a perfect union with and absorption in the all-comprehensive being of the Godhead. So this presentation of the Gita reveals the gradual ascending steps in the evolutionary process of the human soul in his march towards this ultimate goal. So this presentation of the Gita reveals the gradual ascending steps in the evolutionary process of the human soul in his march towards this ultimate goal. So Papa's knowledge is so high, the Lord Krishna has given these steps in the second chapter. So only by deeper study the people will be able to understand that. So this presentation of the Gita reveals that the gradual ascending steps. So the steps are given, it is hidden. But only a deeper contemplation, deeper going through repeatedly, then that will reveal. So it is revealed to Papa. So steps in the evolutionary process of the human soul in his march towards this ultimate goal. So what are the steps? Let us finish this. Gita's message is primarily to the man of the world who, according to it, need not renounce the active life and its relations with the world, but can divinize all his actions by a complete dedication of himself in his entire being. Means always be aware of that power of God, that is the subtle mysterious power expressing in the form of life is making us do everything. It is He who is making me to talk, who is making me to walk, who is making me to do all actions. So Gita's message is primarily to the man of the world. We are all in the field of work, no? Family level, professional level, societal level, social level. So Gita's message is primarily to the man of the world. Why? Because even the Gita, who heard from Lord Krishna, a family man, Arjuna, and who has told a family man, Lord Krishna. So it is very much for the person who is in the field. So it's not meant only for saints and sages or only sannyasis or anything. Very practical book. So Gita's message is primarily to the man of the world who, according to it, need not renounce the active life and its relations with the world, but can divinize all his actions by a complete dedication of himself in his entire being, both as the immortal soul and as the active worker in the field of Prakriti to the Lord of the universe. So how to divinize all our activities? That is the question. That is correct. We don't have to renounce. We understood. But it is very difficult. So Papa says it is possible. So how to dedicate means Papa says from the time we get up till we go to bed in the night, whatever we speak, whatever we think, and whatever we do in thought, word and deed, Papa says do with love, with dedication. Samarpana bhavana. With gratitude. How can we do like that but we forget? So Papa says we should bring love, gratitude and dedication. So whatever we do, we should do with love. Love means what? Absence of otherness. Feeling that the power which is there in me is there in everybody and in everything. So whomever I serve, I am serving to myself only in all names and forms. Why with dedication and devotion? Because it is that power of God which is making me do. If there is no life in me, I am a dead body. So that means God's power, that spirit, the truth, the Atman, whatever name we give, that is making me in the form of life, making me to do everything. So it is not that I am doing. So it is that power of God, that consciousness, that awareness is making me to do. I should be aware of that. I am not aware, but that is the truth. But because of sense of individuality expressing in the form of me and mine, I always think I am the doer. We have that notion, doership notion. But now, because of Papa's teachings, we are able to understand a little, because it is the subtle, mysterious power which is seated in everybody, in everything. One power expressing through all names and forms. That power is making us do everything. Without that power, I won't exist. I have no existence. So, only thing is we are not aware. Our prayer should be, kindly make me aware. We may fail, we may forget. Swamiji also always says we should try to pray, plead, weep. Because of old habit, since many births we got used to say that, we used to do with the doership. Always we used to think we are the doers. But it is not so. Now we understood, at least with buddhi, with the intellect. Intellectual understanding is there. Then it has to become experiential, means we should be aware, we should pray. Make me aware of your presence. Though you are there, without you I won't exist. Still we forget. So, with the complete dedication, because He has chosen me to do this. So I am a blessed instrument in His hands. So with the dedication, whatever we do. So with love, with dedication, we need to do every act, and without expecting any result, because doing only gives me joy. I am blessed because God has chosen me to do this. And any work given to me doesn't matter, because it is He who is seated in me is doing to Him only in all names and forms. With that bhavana, we will try. So Gita's message is primarily to the man of the world who, according to it, need not renounce the active life and its relations with the world, but can divinize all his actions by a complete dedication of himself in his entire being, not one part of our body. Even Bhagavatam Swamiji was reading today also. All of you must have heard, otherwise again here Swamiji's satsang was so useful for all our, like us, sadhakas. That is read from Sri Krishna Leela of Vanamalis. Uddhava, advice to Lord Krishna gives advice to Uddhava. So entire being. Both as the immortal soul and as the active worker in the field of Prakriti to the Lord of the universe. So Sri Krishna holds yogic action as superior to renunciation of action. So Papa says renunciation of action is not needed, but the doership should not be there. Doing the action without doership is yogic action, means we can. Yoga means union with God, easy for us to get connected. While the latter signifies a partial denial of life, the former denotes a transformation of the whole life into the very expression of the Godhood, by raising the ignorant soul from the human to his illumined, divine and eternal nature. So all glory be to the Lord, the Savior of mankind, the protector of the weak and helpless, the joy of his devotees, and the guide and friend of the aspiring souls. All glory be to the Lord. So that is how Papa concludes this preface. So many messages, profound messages are there. So all work we should be able to, we should try. All work may not be, but whole day, Swamiji every day says, try. So we should try. So first chapter of Gita Sandesh, the message of the Gita, first chapter, the name given by Papa is Moha or attachment. Moha or attachment. What is Moha or attachment? The Bhagavad Gita holds before mankind, the Bhagavad Gita holds forth before mankind the highest and the loftiest ideal by attaining which the soul is liberated from all limitations and enjoys the peace and bliss of his inherent state of immortality. So the first discourse of the Gita speaks of the one great obstacle that confronts the struggling soul in his effort to realize this blessed state of supreme freedom. Now, what is the melody that has possessed the soul, which has made his life cramped, narrow, and limited, bringing to it a sense of helplessness and oftentimes utter despair? It is moha or attachment arising from the individual sense of I, sense of individuality. It is moha or attachment arising from the individual sense of I in relation to the body, and therefrom to the bodies of those near and dear to him by the ties of blood or friendship or material obligations. This is the problem. Me and mine. Swamiji always tells us, every day in satsang, me and mine, sense of individuality. I identify myself. I think I am a separate entity because of the names and forms. So that gives rise to moha or attachment. This moha causes the mind of man, as a result of its narrow vision, to move in a limited circle, identifying itself with the interest of this circle. So we become narrow, our thinking, higher thinking won't come. Limited. In this condition, the vision of man, starting from his individual center, radiates only within this circle and gets so much absorbed in it that the humanity and the world outside radiates only within this circle and gets so much absorbed in it that the humanity and the world outside it are considered entirely separate and foreign to it. It is within the experience of every human being who has spent some thought on the mysteries of life, that life lived in this limited vision is a constant source of fear and sorrow. This way, narrow, limited way, living causes what? Limited vision is a constant source of fear and sorrow. So Lord Krishna tells, Swamiji was telling today also, 16th chapter, first quality is abhayam, fearlessness. Because of separateness, we are separate from the rest of the creation. That creates the fear in us. Separateness, otherness. Papa says, Papa's quotation. The sense of otherness sets limits to illimitable. It is within the experience of every human being who has spent some thought on the mysteries of life that life lived in this limited vision is a constant source of fear and sorrow. He further knows that the more is this vision expanded, the greater in his freedom and the higher is his joy. We know when we expand our love circle, how happy we feel. But still we forget, we get stuck. He feels that he is imprisoned within the fortressed walls raised all round him by his ego. And although he knows that his freedom lies in breaking down these walls, his attempts at such a task prove futile as he is conscious that moha has enfeebled him and made him unequal to it. So the ego has taken over. All of you must be remembering, no? Swamiji always reads Swami Chinmayananda's about ego. There is a prayer. In our prayer cards also it is there. He feels that he is imprisoned within the fortressed walls, raised all round him by his ego. And although he knows that his freedom lies in breaking down these walls, his attempts at such a task prove futile as he is conscious that moha has enfeebled him and made him unequal to it. It is this moha that weakened the strong we all know, no, Arjuna. He was very victorious. He is so strong, so great personality. It weakened, no? Because of that moha, attachment. So, Arjuna, what did Krishna say? Stand up, get up, and fight in the battlefield. So similarly, it is this moha that arrests the march of the aspiring soul when he strives for a wider vision of life and the resultant action. Man gets through moha so helplessly, entangled and caught in the grip of selfishness, greed and lust, thus acting and living solely for himself and his kith and kin, that the wider view of life is shut out from him, and the great purpose for which he exists is either denied or forgotten by him. So as with Arjuna, so with everyone who strives for liberation. It is a conflict between the aspiration for the vaster vision and the crystallized selfishness of an individualistic view of life. So, life battle. Every day the battle is going on within ourselves. Arjuna proposes to abandon the task of the vast and world importance, which was inspired by an extensive vision and for which he was born, and in every respect fitted and prepared, being now subdued by the ephemeral interest and concern of his lower human nature. Suddenly has fallen back, but he is a great personality, but still for a moment he has fallen to lower nature. It is the impulse of an egoistic view of life that enveloped and conquered the greater vision and its action. So when that ego takes place, so the vision gets cramped, narrowed. We won't be able to see far and wider. That is what has happened to him. It is the impulse of an egoistic view of life that enveloped and conquered the greater vision and its action. What was the outcome or effect of such a degrading impulse on him? This is made clear by his own words that he felt weak, helpless, unmanned, and in every way stricken down with fear, doubt, and despair. He himself has explained all the result. This is the work of moha, and it is perfectly clear that moha is the arch enemy that destroys the natural peace, joy, and freedom of a human being. Moha has its own ways of defense against the development of the higher and expanded vision. Moha has its own ways of defense against the development of the higher and expanded vision. Through possible arguments, it seeks to prove that a life fully tinctured with moha is the real life, and that to transform such a life into a greater one would be undesirable and sinful. Through so many arguments, it is proved that fully covered with moha, tinctured with moha, is the not correct life. We need to transform that. There are many and earnest aspirants for perfect liberation, who knows well that moha is the cause of their bondage, and the sooner they are freed from its clutches, the better it is for them. The sooner, if they freed from its clutches, the better for them. So, but how is he to escape its hold when it has so strongly seized him, and he feels weak and vanquished by it? He cries out for a life of infinite vision and utter freedom and immortal joy. Arjuna, on behalf of all of us, he did that. His condition is similar to that of a bird of the woods struggling hard to be free from the cage in which it is imprisoned. So Arjuna is representing all humanity, and through him God has given us the Gita. So moha vitiates the intellect. Oh, it is already time, 7:30, 40. Okay. We will continue tomorrow then. So he cries out for a life of infinite vision and utter freedom and immortal joy. His condition is similar to that of a bird of the woods struggling hard to be free from the cage. In which it is imprisoned. So we'll continue tomorrow. It is already time. Okay. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om, Pranams.